Coming up on the show, a milestone decision in Washington. The Epstein files are on the brink of release. We're going to break down the timing for what comes next. Plus, a Thanksgiving lifeline for struggling families across the metro. How this massive food drive continues to step up for those in need. And the U.S. gets another failing grade in maternal and infant health. Why experts are calling it a crisis. This is The Take. Let's get it. Hello and welcome. I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines and we look at the why and how stories are impacting you and your community. We invite the experts in to share their take on today's top stories, and we try to have just a little bit of fun as well. Well, we're just days away from Thanksgiving, and the need to help put food on the table is growing. For decades now, the annual Thanksgiving outreach has been a lifeline for families who need a little extra help heading into the holidays. Right now, they are preparing to continue to help with a massive food drive distribution. Joining us now with more is Reverend Lori Wong Burns, CEO and founder of Reflections of Trinity. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How many families are you guys looking to serve this upcoming weekend?
So we start planning in March of this year, and we projected about 1,700 families.
Wow.
And that's before we knew about the shutdown. So we're not quite sure. We're prepared for 1,700, and we're anticipating about 2,000 families.
Now you do this every weekend, right? This is an ongoing thing for you guys, but this weekend you're expecting it to be massive because of the holidays?
That's correct. So we do 3 different distributions every week, Saturday being our largest. And our Saturday distribution has seen an exponential uptick in folks coming for food due to the shutdown. We normally do about 750 boxes on a Saturday, and we're upwards of 1,000 currently.
Wow. What factors do you think is driving the demand compared to previous years?
Well, definitely the government shutdown had a lot to do with it. The SNAP shutdown in particular had a lot to do with it. We had a lot of families that depend on SNAP that, had no other means of getting food other than going to pantries. So we attribute the SNAP shutdown to our spike. But overall, the economy, the government shutdown definitely had something to do with it.
To serve folks that large, you're going to need some volunteers. How are you rounding up those volunteers?
You know, we have been blessed that folks in the community have just come out and started to volunteer. But if you go to reflectionsoftrinity.org, you're able to click on a link to volunteer. We're doing the annual Thanksgiving outreach on Saturday. Volunteers can start arriving anytime after 5 o'clock because, believe me, cars will be there prior to 5 a.m. in line.
But you start, what time do you start?
We start at 8:30.
8:30, okay, all right. And so I know you give out a box of food. What's going to be in the box? What's usually packed in the box?
So we'll have a turkey, we'll have all the fixings for Thanksgiving dinner, and in addition, a week's worth of groceries. So they'll be getting quite a bit of food on Saturday.
Wow. And if I'm in the community, somebody's watching, they're in the community and want to volunteer, you said go to the website. Also, how do they donate? Can you donate?
Yes. If you go to reflectionsoftrinity.org, there's a big banner there, a link that you can click on to donate towards the food drive. It's a massive undertaking, and it takes a village to feed a village.
That's absolutely right. A lot of work. And Lori, I want to ask you, maybe my last question here. Why are you so personally involved in this? What drives you to do this?
You know what, Chesley? I've been doing this for 22 years, and I should get a T-shirt that says I was born for this. I just have a passion to help people, and I love what I do. I love being able to say, I got you, for people that are in need.
Yeah, and it's a lot of folks this year, and so I'm sure it's going to be packed out. Thank you for all that you do in the community. That's number one. Number two, I'll be out there. I think I'll be out there. I'm taking an early shift this year.
Absolutely.
I'm going to come on out and help out. So if folks want to volunteer, once again, where do they go to sign up?
They go to reflectionsoftrinity.org, and there's a sign up link for you to sign up as a volunteer. There's information there about our Thanksgiving outreach. It's located at Linked Up Church in Powder Springs, Georgia.
Okay, sounds good. Reverend Lori, thanks so much for joining us this morning, and thanks again for all that you do for our community.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you. All right, take care. All right, the Thanksgiving giveaway is this Saturday from 8:30 until noon. It's at Linked Up Church, 4000 block of Brownsville Road there in Powder Springs. The need is great this year, folks, so she could use some volunteers as well. Coming up, we're going to hear stories of how families who are struggling to feed their own pets this holiday season, the surprising way a nonprofit is stepping in to help. Straight ahead on The Take. All right, let's take a look at our forecast for today. We are looking at 77 degrees for the afternoon high temperature today. That's up there, folks. Now, keep in mind, as you look at these temperatures, 79 degrees Thursday, Friday, 77, we should be in the low 60s this time of year, so our highs are well above the average. And we could tie or break some records the next couple of days. I think we'll be okay today. The record high today is 80. Tomorrow it's 79. Friday it's 77, and we're forecasting that as a high, so could break some records. Now the clouds, of course, will have something to say about it. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy skies. 30% chance for some showers, but they come late in the day. Going into Saturday morning, when Trinity will be out there helping out people. Maybe some sprinkles around the area. Should clear out by the afternoon. And then you got Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday where the temperatures come back down a little bit, and you may think that's a cool off, but really, again, we should be in the low 60s. Temperatures will only be around 70 degrees. Hey, you're watching The Take. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the show. George's Rome showing those clouds overhead, folks. I was telling people to carry the umbrella this morning just in case you need it for the morning. We're getting to that hour now, about 10, 11 o'clock, where you won't need it for the rest of the afternoon. But just in case you did, throw it in the back seat of your car, folks, just in case you need that rain, the umbrella for the rain that could be coming our way. Now this afternoon, we'll break it up and get some sunshine in, so that'll be nice. All right, a live look at the U.S. Capitol just hours after the dramatic day. Milestone vote. The Epstein files are now on the verge of being released. Tuesday, the Senate unanimously passed a bill that would force the Justice Department to release unclassified files related to the convicted sex offender. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. Alice, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chesley.
What specific records will the Justice Department be required to release, and how much detail will the public be able to see?
Yeah, this is the real question now, because a lot of people are saying the vote passing was really just one step. Now seeing what actually comes out is, of course, the end goal here. And the full files could contain more emails, text messages that haven't yet been released in past disclosures, evidence from seized hard drives, financial records, information from interviews with other players. Those are all things that survivors who say they want the American public to see who covered for Epstein, what financial institutions may have allowed his trafficking to continue. Those are the kinds of records that they are hoping will be contained in here. But there are also some questions about how much will be redacted, not only because things will be withheld that could identify any of the survivors that have not stepped forward and don't want their information shared publicly, but also because there's a clause saying that the Attorney General can withhold any information that could in some way jeopardize any other ongoing federal investigations. And President Trump just asked the Justice Department to open investigations into high-profile Democrats who have also been linked to Epstein, along with many other Republican names. And so there are questions about whether those new inquiries could hinder the release of all of the other records here.
So it will protect any kind of false accusations against individuals named in the file? It will do that?
So that is a central question that House Speaker Mike Johnson had brought up, because he and other Democratic, or rather Republican leaders, along with President Trump, had so long opposed this particular vote, this particular mechanism for getting to transparency. He has been arguing that it does not do enough to protect the identities, in fact, of the survivors because of how it's worded, and that it could create new victims by releasing the names of people who were mentioned in the files, but that the the information was not credible or determined to be false and they were ultimately cleared, that may not be clear through just putting all of the information out into the public. And he says there could be innocent people who would be harmed because of that. So I'm not sure it's clear that there are protections for people who would be mentioned, but then would have to say, I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe this and this is what shows that I was cleared of any wrongdoing.
Oh, Alice, what's the potential legal or investigative action that could follow if new names or new evidence is revealed in this file?
Yeah, so there's every possibility that could happen, except for the fact that the Justice Department had already said that it had gone through all of this information and had not seen anything else that was actionable, any other reason to bring charges against anyone else. And that's the whole point. That's why the Justice Department said it was not necessary to release all of these investigative files, that anything that they have not taken action on yet, it means that there wasn't the necessary evidence or the wherewithal to bring anybody else to justice. So all of these names that could come out, that then implies that the Justice Department is saying these are people that we have looked at and determined that they did not need to be charged. Now, there could be other kinds of ramifications. For instance, Larry Summers, who was a Treasury Secretary under former President Clinton, he is named in these new emails that were just recently released by the House Oversight Committee that's been doing its own robust investigation. And because of his fairly frequent mention in those emails, even though he's not been accused of any wrongdoing, he did have ongoing communications with Epstein even after some of these claims and accusations against Epstein were pretty well known. He has now stepped back from his public duties and stepped down from the board of OpenAI, a very high-profile company. So even if it's not criminal charges, there could be a lot of other consequences for people that come up in these files.
Got it. Alice, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. All right, when it comes to U.S. maternal health in the United States, we're barely passing. Why do we score so low when it comes to preterm birth rates? We'll discuss that right after the break. An annual report card released this week by the March of Dimes gives another bad grade to the U.S. when it comes to maternal and infant health, calling preterm birth rates a crisis in our country. We're joined by OBGYN and 11Alive medical expert Sujatha Reddy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chesley.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we had you on the show. Glad you're here. All right, so tell us what factors is driving the U.S. preterm birth rates and contributing to this fourth consecutive D+ grade?
Yeah, our preterm birth rates are higher than they really should be, but they've remained kind of stable for the last couple of years. And, we've talked about this when we talk about maternal health, but there's absolutely a racial disparity when it comes to access to health care and maternal care. So, we're seeing that come out now in preterm births, not just maternal mortality. So, there's a few risk factors as well. Lower socioeconomic status is a risk factor, being under 17 or over 35, having had one preterm delivery before puts you at risk. Chronic health conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes can also put you at risk. Smoking, things like that also. So, we are not doing very well. I guess the only silver lining is it's not going up. But I think one big thing we need to focus on is availability and access to health care, especially prenatal care.
Is that why we talk about the racial disparities? Talk to me about that a little bit. Apparently, preterm births are worsening in that particular area. What does the data say and show us about the outcomes for Black mothers and babies?
Yeah, so African Americans have a very higher rate than non-African Americans compared to Caucasians, et cetera, when it comes to preterm delivery. So yeah, I think, the systemic racism in medicine is definitely one contributing factor. I think we're trying to improve that, but we've got a long way to go.
Well, are there any policy changes, or what are the policy changes, such as Medicaid expansion, does the March of Dimes believe are most critical when it comes to improving these outcomes?
Yeah, Medicaid has been a great thing for pregnancy as far as OB care, because several years ago, if you were pregnant and depending obviously on qualifications, you could get emergency Medicaid, and that's in every state, including Georgia. So that allowed women who didn't have insurance, if they got pregnant, to get access to prenatal care. I think that was a big thing that happened, but we could obviously do better. We need to get more women into that care. We still have healthcare deserts all over the country and in Georgia. So I think that's something to think about. But for sure, Medicaid has given women who didn't have insurance access to prenatal care.
You talk about these deserts, right? There is a mom-baby mobile health center. Has that made a dent at all, or is it still just we don't have enough of them or something?
100% what you don't have enough of them. It's a great idea. It's basically a mobile prenatal clinic. They also do well women exams, so just general GYN care as well. But we don't have that in Georgia yet. They're in conjunction with the March of Dimes. A lot of them are done in conjunction with the healthcare system. So perhaps that's in our future here in Georgia, but that is trying to get the health care to where the women are living. If it's in a rural area, or if they're in a place where they have health care but don't have a way to get there, there's a lot of things to think about. But those are sort of mobile house call units. And if you ever watched that show, Call the Midwife, back in the 50s and 40s in England, that's what they did. The women went to the midwives, went to the pregnant women, and that's what these mobile mother and baby units are trying to do. So I think it's a great idea. We just need more of them for sure.
Yeah, I got about 30 seconds left, Dr. Reddy. If you could sit before lawmakers and kind of give them some advice or let them know about this situation, what would you say?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to increase access to health care for our moms and our children. If you can't take care of your pregnant women and your children, society is failing.
Absolutely. Dr. Reddy, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for your insight.
Thanks, Chesley.
All right, take care. Wildfires are common when the air is dry and this dry weather persists. We have both over us right now. We're going to talk about this coming up on the show. You're watching The Take. We're back right after this. Welcome back to the show. It's been so dry around here. You're looking at the latest drought monitor, and it does show that we have, especially over the metro area, severe drought. That's that dark tan area that you see that extends a little bit further down to the south. And that red area in there indicates extreme drought. We have a small area of that, but by and large, much of our area under a moderate drought. And it's been dry around here since September. We had that record-breaking dry spell in September. October is typically the driest month of our year, and now we're moving into November and not a whole lot of rain in sight. It's leading to brush fires around the forecast area, and we had some earlier this week. Joining us now is Thomas Burnett. He's the chief of the forest protection with Georgia Forestry. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Chesley, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say you're definitely right. It has been extremely dry the last couple of months.
How is that adding to the potential for fires, the forest fires that we see, like the dry fuels that we have around?
Well, it obviously it definitely makes it harder for us to control. So it's been exceptionally dry, like you mentioned, since September. Much of the state is in either moderate or extreme drought right now. We also, in the fire world, we look at something that's a little bit different, a drought monitor called the KBDI, which is just sort of the top 8 inches or so of the soil, and that's is extremely high right now as well across much of the state. So we've definitely seen an uptick in the number of wildfires over the last couple of months, but continues to pick up over the last couple of weeks.
Explain to us how these fires kind of start, right? For somebody watching right now and they're thinking, hey, yeah, the land is dry, but we got clouds around, we got the sun. How does those fires start?
So here in Georgia, the number one cause of wildfires is people doing debris burning. Typically, it's smaller hand piles that people are cleaning up their yards. You know, you got leaves coming down, of course, in the fall. So you're wanting to clean up, make your yards look good, and you pile stuff up and set it on fire. And then, unfortunately, what happens a lot of times is people aren't paying attention. They leave or they go back inside and the fire escapes. So that is the number one cause of wildfires in Georgia. Just being super dry like it is right now, we just ask for people to be cautious of that.
At what point do we stop people from doing that? Like we're dry now, and obviously we don't have much rain in sight, but is there a point that we get to where we have to shut that down?
So each county in Georgia has the ability to issue burn bans. Mm-hmm. It's not something that we do at the state level a whole lot because obviously Georgia is such a big state, and what's going on in one part of it may not be necessarily happening in another part, right? So each county does have the ability to, or city has the ability to issue temporary ordinances to kind of curb the outdoor burning. And obviously if any of them are considering that, we'd be happy to talk to those local city and county government officials and help them navigate through that process.
Yeah. We had fires earlier this week. Do we have any fires out there now, or is everything under control?
We do. So just I had some numbers here, but just in the last 7 days, we've had 228 fires in the state of Georgia, burning about 830 acres. And so although the number of fires is obviously higher than normal, we're managing to keep them fairly small. Georgia, the Forestry Commission, has a lot of people that are scattered around the state. We have a really, really low response time. Our average response time to any wildfire in the state of Georgia is about 26 minutes, and that's whether it's during the day or at nights or on the weekends. So we get there quick, and we're fairly aggressive in the way that we fight fires. So we are managing to keep the acreages low. That's about a 3.5 acre average right now, but for sure, the fire numbers have gone up, and even just since Saturday, just so for the last 4 days, that number is up around 155 fires for 635 acres. So we're definitely seeing an uptick, and we just we want to ask folks to continue to be cautious. Just use a little common sense. We like to say, just check the weather before you burn. If you are going to burn, just take a look at it. Maybe call your local Forestry Commission office or go online. We've got an excellent resource, gatrees.org. Lots of weather information that you can go and you can look, and also has our contact information on there. So we'll be happy to answer any questions and help folks decide whether maybe it's a good time to burn, or maybe you'd be better off to wait a couple of weeks.
There you go, especially if some wind is around. Chief Barnett, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.
Take care.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
All right.
Holiday scams are starting to trend around this time of the year. So what do you need to be aware of? We're going to let you know right after the break. This is The Take. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the show. Fraud is everywhere these days, from fake toll payment text messages that you receive on your phone to social media scams, bogus charity requests, even stolen packages. It's a growing problem that's hitting very, very close to home for many people. Joining us now with what you need to know, what you need to look out for and to protect yourselves is Kathy Stokes, Director of Fraud Protection or Prevention Program at AARP Fraud Watch Network. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What are the top scams people should be watching out for this holiday season?
Yeah, you mentioned social media. We see about a third of us have experienced clicking on an ad on social media to purchase something, and only to find out that they'll never get it, or if they do get something, it's an inferior version of what they were trying to order. So we really have to stay away from those social media ads.
Yeah, they pop up all the time if you're on social media there. We saw a recent report that showed 9 in 10 adults have experienced some form of fraud. What's driving that number so high, Kathy?
Well, unfortunately, we're in a place now where much of this activity is happening around the world by transnational organized crime rings. They're very sophisticated. They have the money, the time, the scripts, the ways to get us to do things that we wouldn't ordinarily do, and it's just everywhere now.
We almost are being forced to buy gifts online, so we really can't stay away from that. How do we make that safer, or how do we stay away from the scam part and get to what we really want, is to buying gifts?
Yeah, we just have to constantly engage our inner skeptic. My guidance is work with retailers you've already done business with. You have an account, log into it online or go to the app. It's safer that way. Avoid clicking on links in anything. One other thing that we're seeing every year, it's more people reporting that they've given or received a gift card that didn't have any value on it. Some of that could be error or forgetting, but most of that is very likely because criminals have figured out how to drain those cards as soon as they're activated. So it's best to go online and buy a gift card directly from the retailer, and then register it if you can, if you end up in the situation, flip that card over and call the number on the back and see if they can help you out.
Wow. Talk to me about these toll payment texts that are becoming so common. Why is that? Why are they becoming common? Is that an easier way to get people?
Yeah, and they're sophisticated too. So if you're in Atlanta, you're going to get something about a toll road in your area. I'm from DC. I get a Easy Pass notice or something from Virginia, perhaps. And they work because they're quick. You know, we react quickly to text anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When we see it and it's a road that we're familiar with, and it's a small dollar amount, it's like, oh yeah, I better take care of that. Well, that small dollar amount begins their access to your credit card or other data where you're using, you know, to make the purchase. And at worst, you're going to a website where it's going to look to download malicious software onto your device to try to get your credentials to all of your accounts.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what should people do or know when using peer-to-peer payment apps?
You really should only use those with people that you know and trust.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to send the kids at school some money, or, you know, over the holidays, you can transfer money easily that way. If you're splitting a dinner bill, something like that. But you really don't want to use those to make purchases, especially with retailers you haven't done business with before. They just don't have the same protections as credit cards do.
All right. Kathy Stokes, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the insight that you're giving us this morning, especially during the holidays, man. It's going to get rough.
Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. Atlanta drivers know how frustrating a slowdown commute can really be, but the city leaders say the construction clogging major roads is part of a bigger push to make streets safer and smarter for everyone. It's all a part of the Atlanta Safe Street Initiative. Here to tell us a little bit more about it is our Gridlock Guy, Doug Turnbull. Hey man, good to see you inside.
Hey, good to be inside too, although I love this warm weather you've had dialed up, Chesley.
Oh man, can you believe it? Yeah. What is the Atlanta Safe Street Project list?
For sure. So, and I just checked it right now to see when I wrote the story of my recent Gridlock Guy column at 11alive.com and in the AJC, there were about 50 projects on there. I just checked, there are 49. And so Safe Streets is actually one pillar of what makes a complete street in their initiative there. The Safe Street is simply something that's safer for all commuters, not just drivers, and some roads have speeds that are too high or maybe angles that are rough, but also other commuters too, making it safe to cross those streets, to ride bicycles, to ride scooters, things like that. And we know if the speeds are too high for one, it can make it more dangerous for another. If there are not enough places to cross the street, it can be more dangerous. So the Safe Street Project is actually part of Atlanta's overall plan by 2040 to have what's called Vision Zero road fatalities. That means people on foot or in cars. That's only 15 years away. It feels like 2040 is decades away. It's only 15 years away, and they're part of a nationwide initiative in Vision Zero, and Safe Streets is a part of that.
What two projects did you focus on in your column?
For sure. And so in this column, again, that's on the traffic page at 11alive.com, we talked about Howell Mill Road, a safe streets and complete street project, actually, that involves a lot of new technology that's going to be wrapping up in the next few months. And you see the groundbreaking here below at Boulevard. That's the other project, and this just began. That groundbreaking that photojournalist Stephen Boise and I were at was on Halloween. So what they're doing on both of these streets is adding in pedestrian cross signals, different things like that. The Boulevard projects should finish in late in 2026. And you can see a rendering of what that looks like there with drive lanes, bike lanes, and better sidewalks as well.
Doug, why do these things seem to take so long? Why do these projects take a long time to develop?
Well, if you look deep in the records on these, and they're available to the public, that wasn't a special journalistic thing I did, but just looking at the records, some of the development for these began on those two in particular, like 2015, 2016, around there. But you have different stakeholders, all right, so whether it's residents, governments, businesses. You also have different funding mechanisms for these projects. And so what starts as someone's big idea, back in the middle of the Obama administration, okay, here it is in the second Trump administration finally coming to fruition. And I'm not relating it to Washington, but that just shows how much time has passed.
Yeah. How is AI being used to predict crashes and improve traffic signal efficiency across Atlanta's busiest roadways?
Yeah, great question. And I spoke to ATL DOT Commissioner Solomon Cabanis for this column, and he is an engineer, all right? That's number one before he is talking to the media, engineer, okay? And what he talked about is how basically artificial intelligence can be used to gather or correlate all the data that are gathered from what are called smart traffic signals and smart other beacons along these roads. They can help predict crashes. They can retime the traffic signals more accurately, and it makes make traffic move better. But also, if you're predicting what kind of things cause crashes, you can put things in place and build things to actually help prevent those wrecks. So that's one of several ways, including making traffic flow better, that AI is used.
Doug, are they more focused on the accident rate at a particular area, or is it the backup rate?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, one causes the other. They certainly want, if a big event lets out at, say, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they want to make sure the signals are timed up to let that traffic move in real time. But at the same point, they also want to change how signals work or what lights are on those signals to prevent crashes, just as one example.
Doug Turnbull, the Gridlock Guy, always on top of it, man. We appreciate you, man.
Honored to be. Thank you.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, take care now. Up next, CNN's Maribel Aber is going to join us with a look at how your money matters. We're back right after this. Welcome back to the show. 3 Mile Island up in Pennsylvania getting a $1 billion reboot. CNN's Maribel Aber joins us now from the NASDAQ market site in New York. Good morning, Maribel.
Good morning, Chesley.
All right, how is this reboot going to be received?
Well, let's talk about it. The Trump administration loaning Constellation Energy $1 billion to restart the nuclear plant, once known as Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island. Now, state energy officials confirmed that deal Tuesday, saying the site, now called the Crane Clean Energy Center, will open in 2027. Constellation has a deal with Microsoft to power future data centers in the region. The government loan will cover most of the project's estimated $1.6 billion price tag. Now, Constellation had to guarantee that if the project fails, it's responsible for repaying that loan. The original 3 Mile Island plant suffered a partial reactor meltdown in 1979. It's considered the worst nuclear accident in U.S. history. But Chesley, with all these data centers going up to support AI, power will continue to be in focus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely about that. We'll be hearing more about that. All right, I didn't even know Tesla had a ride-sharing business, and now they're looking to expand it.
Tesla obtained a permit to expand its robo-taxis in Arizona. So state transportation officials confirmed the EV automaker wants to bring its driverless rideshare network to Phoenix, Chesley. The company already operates manned robo-taxis in Austin, Texas, but plans to remove those humans by year's end. Now, Tesla's automated driving system has been responsible for at least 7 collisions since launching in Texas, according to NHTSA. It already has competition in the Phoenix market. Alphabet's Waymo has been operating there since late 2018. More permit approval, though, is needed before Tesla's Arizona deal finalizes. Elon Musk has mentioned Nevada and Florida as 2 other potential markets that might get robo-taxis by January. Chesley.
We will see. All right, Toyota wants to produce more hybrid vehicles in the United States?
They do. They're investing more than $900 million to boost its U.S. manufacturing across 5 states. The largest portion of that will go to increase assembly of hybrid-compatible engines at its plant in Buffalo, West Virginia. Now, Toyota currently holds 51% of the hybrid vehicle market share, according to data by Motor Intelligence. This week's announcement is part of Toyota's broader plan to invest $10 billion in the U.S. by 2030. The automotive industry has been trying to navigate production amid regulation changes and tariffs on EVs, new vehicles, and auto parts. Chesley.
All right. I understand fans of the classic TV show Friends will like this next story.
Well, okay, for Friends fans who remember this moist maker sandwich, Heinz has a new condiment for you. The company is launching its new leftover gravy squeezable just in time for Thanksgiving. So Heinz says it's made with real turkey broth, designed to give a rich homemade flavor to holiday leftovers. So here's the thing. If you didn't watch the show, it was inspired by one of the characters, Ross Geller, and he had this moist maker turkey sandwich, which featured an extra slice of gravy-soaked bread in the middle. But just FYI, Chesley.
Oh.
If you brine your turkey in kosher salt overnight, you will not have this problem, nor will you have to say that word that I had to say twice this morning.
When you said it, I thought you were feeling like, But turkey gravy as a condiment, I don't know. I'm iffy about it.
I'm with you too.
Yeah.
I'm with you too.
And you don't have to say the word anymore. Thanks a lot, Maribel. Really appreciate it. Oh, man, we discuss a lot about helping people in need for food, but what about pets? We're going to have that conversation right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Gwinnett County is expanding food bank support, and Planned Pethood of Georgia is ensuring that pets aren't left behind. The Duluth nonprofit is donating dog and cat food to 6 local food banks, helping families to feed both themselves and their pets this holiday season. Joining us now is CJ Bentley, CEO of Planned Pethood of Georgia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chesley. We are so thrilled to be here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Very important topic here. I don't have pets, so it didn't even come to my mind that, yeah, if you're struggling and you have pets, your pets would struggle too, right? Talk to me about those challenges that families face when it comes to taking care of their pets during these times of financial hardship.
Well, first of all, we need to take care of the fact that you don't have a pet. So we're gonna fix that and make sure you end up with a pet. There's Planned Pethood provides low-cost medical care and spay-neuter services to members of our communities because the cost of veterinary care is skyrocketing, making it difficult for people to keep their pets as part of their family. And food is part of that, right? So studies will show us that people who receive food from food banks and their SNAP program, if they don't have enough pet food to feed their pets, they will feed their pets the human food that they receive. So the decisions that people sometimes have to make are heartbreaking because they've got to decide, do I feed myself? Do I give this to my pet? And so Planned Pethood, very fortunate to receive funding from a grant from the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta to provide 1,500 pounds of food to those 6 local food banks in Gwinnett County to help allow people to get the food they need to keep their pets happy and healthy, as well as themselves.
Wow. What types of pet food and supplies are being provided to the through Planned Pethood partnership with local food banks?
Right. Great question. Right now, we provided 1,500 pounds of Purina dog and cat food to the food banks. And unfortunately, they said that they would go through that food in a matter of days, very probably. So, Planned Pethood operates strictly on donations. So we continue to ask folks to support our work so that we can continue to provide food because clearly there's a need.
Yeah, I work at a food bank or volunteer. Do you have to ask specifically for the pet food when you go to these places, or do they have it kind of out with the regular food?
I believe they have it out with the regular food. Most of them do. We will have finished our deliveries to all of the food banks this afternoon. So they all will have the pet food that they need, at least for the time being, to help get folks through the holiday.
CJ, could this be a reason why we're seeing maybe an uptick in the amount of pets that are at some of the shelters, or maybe even that are now roaming because people have to let their pets go?
So, Chesley, you're now my hero. I think a lot of people focus their frustration at the animal shelters when in fact, it's not the shelter's fault that they're overcrowded. And so as a community, not everyone who drops a pet off at a shelter is a horrible person. There are some people who simply cannot afford to keep their pet. My own dog was living in a car and they were feeding him Cheerios.
Oh, wow.
And they realized that they love this dog, but they couldn't provide for him. They didn't have family to take him. They don't have a line to adoption, connections like we do. So they made the difficult choice to relinquish the pet to the shelter because they believed it was the best chance they were giving their pet for a happy future. And those are the people that we want to support. And the more we can provide affordable medical care, food, supplies, like you said, spay, neuter, we need to, stop the pet overpopulation problem. As long as we're able to keep providing that, hopefully, we can keep animals with their families who love them instead of forcing them to make difficult decisions and turning those animals into shelters.
Yeah. How can folks out there that are watching us right now that are pet lovers like yourself help out Planned Pethood continue to support pets during this holiday season and beyond?
Well, certainly donations are number one for us. We use every dime we can to put back into the community and help keep our veterinary costs low. We have the exact same expenses as retail veterinarians across the country, yet we charge probably in some instances a quarter to even more for some surgery less than they do. So that's a difficult financial model, to continue to balance. So donations are always very much appreciated. Pet food also is very much appreciated. And we could use volunteers. We have outreach events. We try to take our services, shot clinics, microchip clinics, we try to take those to the communities for folks who have trouble getting to us. And we always need volunteers to help at those too.
CJ Bentley, CEO of Planned Pethood of Georgia. Got to let you know my wife is allergic and afraid. That's why we're petless right now. She's allergic and afraid.
All right, that's fair.
Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, take care. And thank you for what you're doing for our community as well. All right, folks, we're just a few weeks away from the Canathon. Friday, December 5th, join 11Alive, Publix, and the Salvation Army to fill those pantry shelves. So, yeah, we want them full, folks, for a whole year, and fill some hearts as well. Grab your coworkers, grab your neighbors, and even the kids, and drop off canned goods between the hours of 8 and 2 o'clock at one of 5 locations around the metro area. Every can counts, and every one of those stays local right here. For details on how you can help, head to 11alive.com/canathon and learn how you can help us out this year. We're going to be live all morning long, all day long, just trying to help out the local food pantries, folks. The need is great this year, so we need you to help out. When we come back, we have another look at your forecast, plus my final take right after this. Some like it hot. Some like it hot. We're looking at temperatures getting on up there, folks, near 80 degrees for the next 3 days, including today, 77 for the afternoon high. Clouds will have something to say about that. Now, we got some sunshine out there right now in a lot of spots, but those clouds will come back in, and we'll probably prevent that temperature from getting up to 80. If we do, we'll tie a record. Tomorrow, the record is 79 degrees. We're forecasting a high of 79, 77 on Friday. So the next 3 days is where we could see us either tying or breaking a record or coming very, very close. Rain comes back to us by late Friday going into Saturday thanks to a front coming through. That front will cool those temperatures back down, not to where they should be for this time of year, but a little bit lower. We'll be right near 70 degrees to kick off the work week. So there you have it, folks. All right, before we go, my final take. If you find it hard to stop indulging in sugary drinks, you're not alone. More than 60% of American adults report drinking sugar-sweetened beverages 1 or more times daily. That's according to the CDC. Soda is one of the most popular drinks in America, and many find it that they can't stop. Well, this is by design, according to medical experts. Sweeteners flood the brain with dopamine, which is a reward, sensing pleasure and motivation. Sodas hyperactivate that dopamine and make your brain crave it, which makes it even harder to resist it. That, experts say, is with the billions of dollars that soda manufacturers invest in making soda a part of our everyday lives, like for an event, like a cookout or something like that, you feel like you have to have a soda. They invest that and make us think that, right? So the experts suggest in order to break the spell of sugary drinks, especially soda, you're going to need a lifestyle change because it has become a part of your life. So they're saying if you change your lifestyle, you could possibly change from drinking so many sugary drinks. Until then, folks, chug a lug, right? You got to have at least some water. When there's a lot of water in soda, but there's also a lot of sugar. You're talking about straight sugar you're drinking. So be mindful of that. And be mindful of the day, folks. You see somebody, stop and say hello. Have a great day.